Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend D.G. Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Capes and Lunatics. It's me, Phil, again, and this time I'm joined by another great guest. I'm joined by Jon Levin, correct?
Yeah.
Who has, we're talking to another Kickstarter guest. You have a game you're trying to get funded, correct?
That's correct. It's called Inns and Outcasts. It's a 3 to 8 player game that actually plays in 30 to 45 minutes. So it's... we call it a palate cleanser. We position you to play it at the beginning of your night or in the middle of a big board game night when you got some big campaigns or, you know, a couple big games you're playing. Gets the energy back up. Again, it's real quick to play and everybody gets to play. It's got a nice, D&D fantasy world type theme where each inn brings you 6 new characters and all the characters have their own unique effects, but they're all also given an initiative number 1 through 6. So let's say when we were to play, if we had 3 inns, every player would have their own set of the 6 cards from each inn, and you get to pick your own hand. And then so it becomes a bluffing mechanic game where you don't know until, you know, the second round through even what other people have in their hand because of the various inns they can use. And it just those final rounds are just uproarious. And it's a great time. It builds the energy, and it's a great way to meet people. It's a great way to introduce people into board games. It's a great way, and it's a great family game because there's nothing, violent or anything about it.
Yeah, it sounds like a cool party game because it's like you're not at it all night, but there's enough in there to keep it fun and interesting. And
yeah, so you can certainly play 2 or 3 rounds. You'll just get more into the competitiveness of figuring out your opponents, that the whole bluffing mechanic, and the game is being released right now with 2 inns. That's what comes in the box. There's a 3rd inn that is, fairly fair to the point of play testing. So it's pretty good to go. And then the other 2 inns have already been drawn out. So we have 5 in mind right away, which, makes, if everybody's choosing 6 cards from 30, you're going to have a lot of variety for what's going to be out there. And it's just going to be interesting to see how the game grows.
So if the Kickstarter goes good, do you think will there be more expansions later on and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. We intentionally put the game on Kickstarter instead of GameFound for the fact that we can return to GameFound later. And we certainly know that, and also just a little bit of loyalty from our first game was released on Kickstarter. So just a little bit of loyalty to those fans. But if the game funds, we certainly are going to at least next year at some point in 24, we would have the first expansion release, which should fit right into the box that we're releasing now. And then who knows what comes with following that, because we talked about maybe releasing 2 expansions at a time, and then so maybe in that maybe in that second year or third year we have a whole new box that has all 5 inns or all 6 inns in it and a whole bunch of new art and stuff.
I'm always the guy who loves the behind the scenes stuff. So it's like, so how long have you been working on this game?
Well, this one is actually built by a pair of designers with a company called Game Changing Designs. They're one of the few and far between, at least from what I've met, board game designers who actually went and got a degree in game design before they did this. They went to Bradley University. We like to say they went to Milton Bradley College. He actually went for video game and because at the time I don't think they had a board game specific. The wife went for digital art and art and whatnot, and they're both very talented. But this was their first full-fledged game that they made that I think they started working on with another person named Blake Mesmer when they were in college, and they tried to fund it during COVID, and they were trying to release it with they had one in. And, they had spent a lot of money on it, and the overhead had just gotten too much, and they just weren't able to really recoup it. So they pulled it with about 10 days left and contacted us maybe last September. We get a lot of solicitations from publishers asking us, our opinions, our help, or just even a partnership, or even just, would you want to buy our game? So we took a look at this. We vetted them. We thought they were smart, and the artist was very talented. We ended up soliciting her for some other art, and anyway, so it was really in this unique situation of the 5 games that we have either available or in the works. This one we did not touch the mechanics of really very much. It had been fully built and was already So when we got our hands on it, we touched everything else as much as we could. We certainly got into the mechanics a little bit, certainly some of the wording on the cards. We made the cards tarot size. We told them to blow up the pictures because the art is just awesome. It's gorgeous. It's cute. It's fun. It's lively. You want plushies. You want pins of these things. And redesigns of the play mats and the money and everything else. A huge redesign of the rule book. We think the rule book is a star. They've got 2 different ways to learn the game. You can just learn in a comic book cartoon style, or there's a nice little 2-page flip out. And and we're just giving it a shot, hoping that it works for them because we think they're good kids and we'd like them to be able to succeed. We're not the kind of company that takes a huge percentage of what goes down with it. We're one first is really, as the comic parent company was created about, artists first, creators first, fans first, so that's the motto, because it was started by independent people who knew that the industry really doesn't exist and the art doesn't exist without them. And so if you don't keep them happy, they're going to disappear, all that stuff, or they're just not going to be around. So, yeah. So
you said there's a couple games in development or
Yeah, we have, we've got this amazing game, 2 to 4 player, 45-minute, 60-minute game called Apothecary that we're waiting for spooky season. So we're thinking October 1st will be the launch of the crowdfund. And all of our games are always going to be available on Tabletop Simulator for anyone to try because we're big believers in our product. And of course, by that, vein, try before you buy. And we, as developers, we are always also open to, playing with fans in around, or at least showing up for part of a play session and, answering questions and stuff. We were trying to be as interactive with everyone socially as we can. So Apothecary is awesome. That game is the cleanest, smoothest game I've ever played. It was originally designed by a guy named Nick Sparkman out in the Northwest. And this kid he is a sparky kid, and he is brilliant. It's wonderful. This was his first game that he really went out and tried to, as far as I know, his first game that he really went out, and we sort of poached him. And then there's a developer named Mondo, who's done quite a few games by Mondo. I think he's got 2 already out there, and in various companies. He's a school teacher, and he just makes games that he loves, and he goes to the conventions with a portfolio of these completed games. There's 15 or 20 of them in there, and he just goes around to the publisher and tries to sell them. Wow. Because he's a school teacher with a family. He doesn't have time to do all that back leg work, So that's his thing. And he brought us this awesome game, the game that, and we're really excited about it. It's called Ice Cream Social. and it's equal parts Sushi Go, Splendor, and then a bunch of our own mechanics. And that'll be before March of next year, because you got to have it in your hand for summer of next year. And then lastly, that game, and then this next one I'm going to tell you about, called Creature Creator, is a part of this education coalition that my company started. It's really been spearheaded by my partner, Joshua Stilts. It was brought about where his daughter, and I've got 4 real little nieces, and, we were just talking about, the culture and the Fortnite culture and how kids are their maturity and it's just bad, right? Mm-hmm. And we learning that board games, they increase kids' social skills, humility, ability to lose, problem solving, just like nothing else. So we've got our games in quite a few schools right now, and we're testing them, in some STEM classrooms as well. Really trying to get a sense with professional observers, getting a sense of how worthwhile this is, how much money are the big people wanting to invest in this, new way of looking at education. And we've got about 40 or 50 of some really big developers who have, want their names, at least their games, on the sell sheet to the schools, if not want more from it. So we're really hoping that can blow up, just because we just like to see things get a little better, people getting a little smarter and a little able to relate to each other better.
I mean, sounds like these games must be good. I mean, you're putting in the time and the research. I mean, you're researching, and it's not like you're just throwing something together. So it's
no. Creature Creator is all in house, and then those other 3 games, and The Boys obviously was in house, and then those other 3 games, we had we've had hundreds of submissions, so they're just 3 of the ones that were we really want this. We want to represent this game. There was something unique about it, or the designer was, we just knew we'll make the game work, but we got to have you on our team, that kind of thing. Because we're really trying to build a company here. We really want to build a company that'll last and be around, and that people say, yeah, those guys make good games. Smart guys. That would be cool.
But can you tell me a little more about the Boys game? Because that is my first love is comics. So
it's a 1 to 5 player, mostly competitive. You can certainly agree to not be competitive with each other for the sake of saving the world, and that's the task. Homelander has gone fully unhinged in alternate narrative that we got Garth Ennis's personal permission to be able to do it this way. Because we basically said, where in the comics Homelander is being driven batty, we said, okay, it goes to the other side of it. And he goes batty. And he decides enough's enough, and he gives the world an ultimatum. He says, you give me control of everything in 30 days, or I'm destroying the whole place, or worse. Susan Rayner knows this is a problem. The governments of the world, they sort of start balking. 9 days pass, 21 days are left, 3 weeks. CIA Director Susan Rayner sees all of the soups in the world, even the boys, everybody's just scattered around the world doing their own thing. Everybody thinks it's the end of the world. Nobody knows what's going on, right? Homelander's up in the space station. And so she calls her 1 to 5 players, most upstart and unknown CIA agents. And she says to them, could you please take on this mission? I know it might sound like a lot, but I need you to go around the world, recruit an army, and kill Homelander to save the world. And it's a very daunting task. So the first thing she does is she partners you with a hero of your choice. There's 10 heroes: Butcher, Huey, Female, Maeve, Terror, all the big ones. Each hero has a unique power that's going to give you an asymmetry when you play the game. So it's 10 different, variations on at 1/10 of the game is very manipulatable by you. And in a game that plays over 21 rounds, 21 days, you're going to need all the help you can get.
Wow.
So you also are the only person that ends up able to recruit that character. They're just all too powerful to recruit at the beginning, so that's why we have it sort of with the RPG idea that you are the CIA agent, but really your token is your token is Butcher. You're the only one that can recruit Butcher. You get to use his power right away, all that stuff. So so that's how we kind of say you're pretty much Butcher as well. You're hero, I mean. And then the game plays over 21 rounds with Homelander attacking every round. He's never going to be nice. Sometimes the attacks might not affect you because he'll attack specific teams, and you might not have any of those characters. But there are attacks in there. And again, you take 9 out at the beginning, so you don't know what your attacks are going to be because 9 days have passed. But 6 of those 30 are attacks that increase his health permanently by 2. So when the game starts, Homelander has 30 health. The most maximum damage you could possibly do on your first turn is 6. And so Homelander can get up to 42, and that is a nasty number to have to hit. No matter what.
So, okay, so I haven't gamed in many, many, many years. Like, if I bought this game and, like, read the instructions and everything, could I jump into this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You wouldn't need to read the comics at all. Okay. Even the TV show, we have a really nice intro letter from Raynor where she sort of just explains the sides, you know, and how we got to this crazy situation where everybody's against Homelander, but all the Supes are still bad guys, you know, all that stuff. And then the only thing I would say is it's a game with a bunch of mechanics. Your first time playing the game, it's, you know, probably want to give yourself an extra half hour, an hour. It's also a lot of cards with some really funny and interesting text. And so, you know, you find people taking extra long in their first times playing because they're just reading through all the stuff. Because the world of the boys is wild.
Oh, yeah.
If nothing else, it is wild.
So are you a fan of comics yourself?
A little bit. Yeah, definitely. I read The Boys 20 times. I love Garth Ennis, that's for sure. Yeah, but no, I'm mostly when it comes to this kind of entertainment, I'm mostly a video gamer. That's my first love. I can play video games all day, every day. I don't like the multiplayer ones. I like the big adventure story ones. I like the RPGs that you can just go out into a world. You know, Zelda, Dark Souls, anything like that is my jam. And then I've really been getting into is the technology has been getting in computers. There's been a lot of like puzzle games, like time bending games, and just all kinds of really cool stuff that they can do with the physics of these new machines. And it's just very exciting, especially with virtual reality coming up the way. I mean, people are just going to be in their houses dancing around like maniacs, but they're climbing a skyscraper in their mind, you know?
I mean, do you ever use it as like quote unquote research, and like you see something in a game, you're like, I could, you know, we could kind of use something like this, you know, in one of our games, or.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I played a game, I think 3 years ago called Tales of the Spire. That's purely a card-based game. And when one of these designers came to us, I won't say which game, and we were going to really get into working on the game with them. And I just remembered that Tales of the Spire game, and I went out and I bought like every game like it that I could find, you know, and I was just playing through because it's card mechanics and it's combo card and they're deck builders, you know, at their soul, but just all the effects and everything. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely research. It wasn't research I would take off taxes because I had way too much fun, but it was research.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you guys have a lot of different games, like level to and even like time, like you know, Inns and Outcasts that you said it only takes what, like 30 to 45 minutes or something, but meanwhile the Boys takes like 21 days. So
Boys is the solo mode where we drew in some rules to make sure you're not missing out on the multiplayer experience. We created Homelander fanatics who sort of block the black market. They like him no matter what. They don't care if he's going to end the world. And the game on solo mode, I play that in 45 minutes, maybe an hour, but you know, it's just me playing and I really know it. A 5-player game, if you're sitting around, assuming everybody knows the rules, 2.5 hours, maybe, if you're being slow and playing like slow and just having a good time. But yeah, we usually quote that game as 60 minutes to 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And I know nothing about creating games. So like, what is the first step of creating a game? Do you have to come up with a script, or do you do scripts, or
we usually go by the model. It's either you need to have a mechanic and then you can sort of build around that, or you need to have an IP and then you can build your mechanics around the IP. But you need to really have a game in mind. You need to have a win condition. That's the key. You figure out what it is that I am doing enough that becomes victory or the end of the game, you know, and because that sort of becomes your soul, because that's what they're doing the whole time when they play the game. They're always doing that. That's the objective. So that's usually how we try to figure out because game design is more about playtesting and round and over and over again. You change one mechanic, you maybe change two mechanics, and then you playtest over and over again. And you're just filtering things out and picking the stuff that you like and that works and whatnot.
And is it? I was going to ask what you preferred, but you probably like both. But it's like, is it? I'm sure they have different challenges, like whether you come up with like a completely original IP or like, say, use The Boys. It's
very different in that respect. We because our pedigree as a company is behind First Comics, we are overloaded with IPs. So, and we've sort of been okay with that. There's artists named the Philbach brothers. They're out of Vegas. They're cowboys, and they are just the sweetest, coolest guys you'll ever meet. And in my opinion, they're the best artists in comics. They have a unique style, but I don't know enough to say that, but like to me, they're just out of this world. And they are doing a whole 160-page graphic novel sequel to one of their titles that we called them up and we're like, dude, this should be a game. It's called Illuminati Transport. The concept of Illuminati Transport is, you've got these stories with monsters, vampires, and the good guys come in and they kick their butts, and then the good guys go on. You don't see like the parts like, what about all the monsters and their body parts that are lying around the battlefield and we're just like left behind? So that's where the Illuminati Transport, and it's Jim Kowalski, a talking golden retriever named Geach, and a talking skull named Rico in a giant big rig, and they work for the Illuminati, and their job is to go to these scenes where the superheroes or the good guy wizards stop the bad guys and get them, put them in the containment, and drive them to the Illuminati headquarters for storage. So obviously, there's always problems with when that goes down.
So when these people have ideas, like, do they email you and say, "Hey, I want to do this game. I have this idea." Whether they have all them, they have mechanics behind it, or are they just like, "Hey, help! We have this game, but we don't exactly know how to make this a reality."
To be honest, that would be more of a question for Josh because he does a lot more of the interactions on social media. But as far as I know, it's pretty much just a solicitation on a TikTok. Right? They'll reach out to us with a question or an inquiry, and we'll just respond back. We're very easily accessible. Our email is easy to grab, and he's really good. He's really interested in helping you out. If he doesn't think that you're right for our company, he'll do his best to try to figure a company that is right for you and make you a connection that way. Because that's one of the keys about being a new game company is you can't oversaturate your own product with the same kind of product or anything like that. And but that doesn't mean it's a good game. It's not going to be a good game. It's just we would eat our own profits.
Yeah. So the Inns and Outcasts. How long is the Kickstarter going for?
It's I think 19 days left or something.
Okay.
Close to halfway. We have a nice TikTok advertising campaign where we've got some big game designers and reviewers that are going to release some content starting at the end of the week. We'll see how it goes. We don't necessarily give up on the game if it doesn't fund. But for Andy and Jen's sake, we really hope it does because they really like this game and it is. I mean, they obviously love this game, but it is a really, really good, impressive game. Playing a game you can easily replay. You can see yourself playing it 3 times in a night or 1 time in a night, but you could very easily go back to. It fits right into your D&D campaign. You imagine your adventurers returning from a successful campaign is the concept. And when you go to the local inn, you're sitting around the tavern with your giant pile of loot in front of you, and you all decide to gamble for it instead of divvying it up. So you can just put that right into your D&D campaign. You guys have a successful campaign. You can go to the local inn and you can say, "You guys want to gamble?" I mean, you can, and then the game works, and it doesn't play like a number counting game. It's not skill based. It's bluffing, so it's guessing. So it has that gambling fun element, where you don't feel like you're going to be bested by someone who knows the game better than you or any of that stuff.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a great party game. But yeah, when we're done here, if please send me the link to the Kickstarter and anything else you want to promote. Sure. I'll put it in the show notes. Like I said, it'll go up on YouTube and the podcast. So, because let's get this thing back, because this sounds like a heck of a lot of fun. So
it is, yeah. And again, if you have Tabletop Simulator, you can just go to the on the Kickstarter page, scroll down. There'll be a link to just go play it for free. You can get 7 of your friends, 5 of your friends, just try the game out. Don't buy it if you don't love it. But it is fun, and it is really cute.
I guess it's got to be fun and addicting, kids. If they're giving you a free sample, they're letting you play it before you buy. So
yeah, that's how we felt. There was no better way to be candid about believing in our product than to say, play the game, try it before you buy it. I mean, that is the most integrity we felt we could show.
All right. I think that's all the questions I have. Is there anything else you wanted to promote or talk about? Any other games you guys have in development, or anything you wanted to look at, a website, anything?
Not at this time. I would maybe say we're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. We're also going to be at Gen Con. If you want us on, maybe around then, and we can fill you in on how the Kickstarter does and talk about our summer plans. That's cool. Okay. But I think between this one and those conventions, our next big thing will be Apothecary. And so, we're going to want to start promoting that in, August.
Okay.
So that would be, ideal, I think. Yeah.
So.
This is great, though.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to have you back. And so right now the big thing is Inns and Outcasts, correct? Go to the Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I don't have the link, so please send me the link for the Kickstarter, and all right, kids. So everyone look in the show notes. Yes, go get this game. It sounds really fun. And
it's only $30.
So come on, guys, go get that.
One copy for 8 of you. I mean, come on, you can chip in to get to a $30 game. I know it can work. I mean, you go to some stores. I think. You're paying more for a game where you're not getting half the stuff it sounds like you're getting in this game. Oh, we think so too. Yeah, this could have been a $40 game easily.
Oh, at least, yeah.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
All right, so yes, John, thank you for making time, much. And kids, again, we're gonna have to have John back when the next game comes out. So thank you, John, and
no problem.
All right, kids,
thank you very much.
Go to the Kickstarter, and we'll talk to you again. All right, goodbye, everyone. All right, thank you, John, and yes, another great Kickstarter creator, company. Again, I'm enjoying these interviews. I mean, it's weird being by myself, but yes, I enjoy talking to these creators. Next episode, we're gonna have another creator, something a little different, a movie creator, or I don't know if director, but yes, it's going to be about a movie. So stay tuned for another interview next week. But until then, if you're anyone with any kind of Kickstarter project, or you're a comic book creator, again, movies, anything, please talk to us. If you want to set up some interview time, please email me, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or we have a voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And you can always find us, find all of our stuff, episodes, social media, merchandise. We have merchandise. And, of course, we have a Patreon. Please help us support our little network of shows here. But you can find all of everything I just mentioned at tubespace.io/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.io/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. All right. And for another week, I guess I've been the Capes and the Lunatics. All right. Like I said, come back next week for another great interview. Good night.